Your time is up.
Who you calling Pinhead?
Welcome back, Guardians, to another TDT video. I'm your humble host, Meesum777, and I am joined here today with the ever so funky, fresh, funky thumbs.
What's going on?
So, you guys know the drill if you guys have seen this before. We're going to talk about some of the stuff as of late. This time around, the theme is a band-aid over a bullet hole. Okay, so, a band-aid is a good thing, right? I want to make sure we kind of hold on to this analogy here for a second, because there are some good things I do want to say about the recent changes that have come out, about the recent TWAB, and all this other stuff that's coming with the new season and such. However, of course, we can't deny the... I think you put it well, Funky, when we were chatting back and forth. Was it discontent?
The maelstrom of discontent that is this community.
Now that could be an exotic weapon, I'm just saying. Maelstrom of discontent. Or maybe some kind of armor. Just throwing it out there.
I'd main it.
But nevertheless, we do have some good stuff to talk about here, and I want to go through it here. By the way, I realized this in our last few Dear Bungie videos, but they've been doing really well, and if you like my stuff, if you like the transitions and such you're seeing in the background, you like the way that we discuss stuff, of course, subscribe. It helps us out. You can see more of this kind of stuff. Okay, let's roll forward here. Let's talk about the good first. So, first and foremost, the very first thing I want to say above everything else is that we got a new activity. Whether or not this activity will be good remains to be seen, but I think that these are the types of things that the game desperately needs right now. Like, especially coming in Season 13, we've got this general lack, this general kind of blah of stuff to do, right? Bounty grinding's getting old. PvP is getting old. Even as somebody who's been playing almost exclusively PvP for 6 years, we need new stuff, right? So the fact that they're bringing in the Battlegrounds thing for the new season is, I think, excellent.
I mean, I'm right there with you. Like we need something shiny. We need something new. You know, even if it's more on the side of Sundial than necessarily, say, like the Menagerie. If it's an enjoyable activity, if it makes you feel strong, and if it's got a way to get good loot, then that's going to keep people happy for the entire season.
Yep, and Umbrals are coming back, which is a later point I was going to bring up, but I might as well throw it in here. Umbral engrams are coming back, so, I mean, that's good. People really like that system. I think that's an excellent way that I think all Destiny loot should honestly be like that, where we can kind of like aim at a general area that we want to get loot from. So it kind of narrows down what we're getting, that, generally what we're getting, right? So anyway, on top of that here, other good stuff to list out is we've got new-ish stuff, new trials weapons, which do seem to be completely new. We've got a new sword, which, let's just hope that there's no adept mod for 3-peaking, right? One thing that is interesting
Somebody said it's a free cam.
Yes, it gives you... Somebody suggested an adept mod that allows you to free roam a cam. Right? That'd be pretty funny. One of the things that I think I'll throw out here is that with adept impact, that might make that sword really good for PvE. And it depends on how much damage it actually does. But, assuming adept impact is even halfway decent, it's something to kind of keep in mind, right? The other thing, of course, is we're getting some returning weapons. What is it? The Swarm, Shadow Price, and Palindrome. Is that right? I got the 3?
Yes.
Which I have very mixed emotions about. I understand bringing back old Destiny exotics, but returning Destiny legendaries just seems silly to me. Like, outside of a raid. Like, if it was, like, for example, Fatebringer from Vault of Glass. That's fine. That makes sense. But this feels, again, kind of lazy. I think that we need more guns. What was it like? What was the number I saw? 25, 30 guns that we're getting back, which is great. Obviously, sunsetting is still a persistent issue. Within the community, people, there's still kind of this unrest about the whole thing. We've talked about that in nauseum, so we're not going to go into that here. But
I mean, it's like I'm kind of on the same page you are. It's like I like the idea that I can finally go for a God Roll Palindrome, considering the only one I ever got in D1 was one I bought from a vendor.
Right.
And I like the fact that, hopefully, with the Dreaming City weapons that are coming back, I can get a good shotgun. Because I loved the shotgun, but it was so, hard to, farm specifically for the Dreaming City weapons that RNG was so against you. So hopefully, if they keep the umbral patterns and the way you can focus farm stuff, that way it'll be a lot easier for people to get stuff that they want.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'm hoping that there's at least a 2-to-1 ratio. For every 2 guns they're bringing back that are old, we're getting at least 1. I'd prefer it to be a 1-to-1, but I'm not going to set my expectations that high. I like the fact that with the changes they're making to how people pursue loot, good guns from before are coming back that you can actually go back and get. Because I know a lot of people were like, I never got this, I never got that, I never got this, and they'll actually get to experience that. So like, I'm happy for them for that.
Yeah, I've always had this ongoing issue. You guys have heard me talk about this before, where I don't like that I have to go regrind gear, but at the very least, we're getting weapons to use. We're still missing, in my opinion, there's massive holes in a lot of different spots for different weapons and such, right? Like, I don't think we have an energy high impact.
Pulses.
What was that?
540 pulses.
Yeah, like, I would love to get a 540 pulse. That's one of my favorite archetypes. Stuff like that. Like, there's still missing archetypes from the game, which I would like to see returned. But anyway, let's roll through some more of the good stuff here, because I think that there are some stuff that we should get through. And next up, Cult Exotic Reworks. The Aeon Cult Exotic Reworks. Finally. Holy crap, have they been bad. Like, I know there's some people out here, there always are. There's always a handful of weirdos who always will swear by some really trash exotics, right? And will swear up and down and say that they're one of the best things out there. But let's be frank here. Those exotics sucked. The only reason you would ever use them is for light level or stats. That's about it. Yep. Maybe you're going to do something memely, like a 6-stack thing. We ran a Crimson Doubles build, which recently got removed. Let's not forget that. Which was fun between 2 Warlocks, but still. Blech. So glad that those got reworked.
Now we'll see if they're actually usable.
Yeah, exactly. Some of the perks do look pretty nasty. Like, there's one, I think it's the Insight one for that one looks incredibly good for PvE. Like, one of the strongest exotics I think I've seen in terms of, like, team support and such. There's a handful of them that look really damn strong, so it'll be interesting. Some of these are quite interesting. I'm glad to see that they're taking it in an interesting direction with it, too. And one thing I do want to point out is that these are essentially exotic mods, which makes me think that maybe they're experimenting with the idea and we might get exotic mods later down the line, because we've seen that before where they mess with something, interact with something, and then it comes out later in a more fleshed out idea. So something to keep on your radars. Anyway.
Yeah, if this is phase 1, I am all on board. And if Aeons turn out to be like, you can't run
best.
X and X raid with us without having this roll on the Aeons, I'm going to kick myself for infusing this base 70 stat roll I had.
Oh, you should definitely at least hold on to your best stat roll. I just got so many of them, it felt like that was the only thing Bungie's like, hey, you remember these? You should use it. I'm like, no, thank you. I'm good. Really, I'm good. They can be 75. I'm still probably not going to run them over my Gemini Jesters.
I infused them into some armor that's sunset now.
Feels so good. Anyway, let's roll forward here. New story stuff, new lore. We got a new meme. Zavala seems to be the king of one-liners, so instead of indeed, we now have no. That's my best Zavala. I'm not Riddick or whatever.
Neither of us are impressionists. It's okay.
Yeah, I thought that was okay. 6 out of 10, maybe. Passable.
Yeah, I'd give it a 6. Slightly lower than your R2D2. But...
thank you. Okay. Anyway, let's roll forward here. We got a new exotic bow. Bows are awesome. I love bows, and we got a new one. I love to see where it goes. This is a whole separate. We're gonna start. I guess this is a good segue into some of the bad stuff. I mean, obviously, one thing to throw out here before we get there is we got the new Texas Mechanica exotic, whatever that may be. Maybe it's a first curse. Don't know. Place your bets down in the comments down below. But next up on the list for bad stuff, we still need to see some stuff reworked. In my opinion, we're still seeing a handful of stuff that is just bleh and lackluster. In fact, when I was reading the TWAB and I saw that they talked about exotic catalyst, I got really excited for a second. Because the first thing that my eye caught was Skyburner's Oath, and I thought that they were going to bring like a rework to some of the crappy exotic catalysts that exist out there, but no, they just made them available again. We need to see some of that stuff get reworked. There's still core pieces of the game that are realistically never going to be touched, like the Skyburner's Oath Exotic Catalyst, because they're trash and they just need more love. I'd love to see things. I'd love to see diversity in the game, and seeing stuff like that just get ignored for the longest period of time doesn't feel good. So
never say never, though, because I mean, based off the last couple of TWABs they've put out, it seems like they're taking their cues on what to do based off of number usage.
Yes, which reminds me of something. Bungie put out a poll. I don't know if you guys caught it, but a survey. I caught it in the email. I'll put it up on screen here. They put out a survey asking for feedback. I don't know how many people caught it. I don't know how many people answered it, and I don't know how many people were helpful. But nevertheless, that they do seem to be looking for feedback from the community, which in my opinion is a great step. Even if it's not necessarily the perfect step, it's a good step in the right direction. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, like I said, you can see it on screen here. This is great. So anyway, more on with the keeping Bungie honest type stuff. No balance changes for Stasis. Stasis is still absolutely dominant in things like PvP. It still needs to have some serious tweaks to it in order to make it work with the other subclasses. Or, I guess this is another point, the other subclasses need to be brought up a little bit. We need to see some of those lesser used subclasses, given a bit of a facelift so that they actually make sense to use.
I want to see a little bit of both.
Yeah, I'd see. Yeah, a little bit of both. I think would be a good
Stasis
place.
Was brought out way overtuned to sell people on the hype.
Yep.
Like I fully agree with that. So like it's had its time, it's had its season. Let's bring it down just a little bit and then bring everything else up to kind of mesh.
Yeah,
it's
to
like
kind of hit that
finally got
equilibrium.
weapon balancing where it needs to be for the most part. Like best it's ever been in Destiny.
Yep.
Let's work on the abilities.
Yep. And again, like primarily, Stasis is like the only real outlier, right? And in my opinion, I think the community as a whole is in pretty much good agreement on what generally needs to change. Maybe not the specifics, but it's not like that we're not giving the feedback. It's not like there's like, diversity in the opinions, right? Like generally speaking, the majority of the community is like, yes, this is a little strong. This needs to be turned down a bit, right? But anyway, if you disagree, of course, you can let us know in the comment section down below. We'll get that discussion going with you. But anyway, next up on the list of bad stuff, my materials are now worthless. Specifically, my Crucible tokens. And boy, does that hurt to see 21,000 Crucible tokens be turned into Legendary Shards with nothing benefiting me coming into this next season. I would have much rather seen it if you had some of this materials from the older stuff and you take it into the newer thing, take it into this new system, that you get special, like essentially veteran rewards for having it. Like as if you could, one of the things I threw out is that if you turned in, let's say, 2,000 Crucible tokens to Shaxx, you could get a full season rank up, allowing you to get an Ascendant Shard, because let's be honest, Crucible's loot has been kind of trash over the last few seasons for the majority of the game. We haven't seen a real vendor refresh on it. I would have loved to have seen some type of reward coming into this new system, but here we are. So I guess that's all I'm going to say. Take it or leave it. I'm a veteran in this game. I've been playing it for, since Destiny 1 for 6 years. It really hurts to see my materials that I've been holding on to, hoping for something new to come out, to just literally go into the toilet. So anyway, sunsetting is now in full motion. Remember that the Season of the Worthy, I believe it is, your gear is now being sunset. It doesn't feel good, but it's in a weird way almost a good thing that this is now becoming more regular, because I think people will start to get more accustomed to it. We just need to see more stuff start to fill those slots, so we'll see. Last up is anti-cheat has still not been addressed. There's still problems on PC. We have still yet to see any serious talk about it from Bungie. DDoSing was slightly addressed, but they essentially said that we're going to have to push it back a bit, which is annoying, because that was like one of the things that we were kind of giving them praise for, like, hey, congratulations, after 6 years you finally put in some DDoS protection, and they kicked it back even further. So great, but again, still no information on the actual anti-cheat for things that are happening on Steam, for a PC, whatever, right?
I'm actually not necessarily confused or concerned about this, but like I'm curious as to whether or not they legally can't say anything right now, because they're teamed up with Riot in some lawsuits against like the people who make Perfect Aim and stuff.
That is true. That's a good point.
I wonder if they legally can't say anything that they're doing because of.
Well, they could be vague about it, though. I know you could skirt. I'm sure you could skirt the law by saying we're working with something with regards to cheaters, right? And that could be. Yeah. like that could work, I guess. But I don't know. I'm no lawyer. Anyway, Funky, you know the outro line?
Bless your faces. Deuces.
Perfect.